What's up, everyone? This is the Oklahoma Prepper, and today we're going to be talking about some garden tips and tricks. It's hot outside and it's been raining, so let's just get to it. All right, guys, I said it's hot and it's been raining for the last few days, actually just yesterday, but that means the mosquitoes are out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of citronella essential oil. We're going to dab it on a cotton ball and then just kind of put it on our heads and on our wherever is going to be exposed, our face, back of our necks, the head, whatever, your arms, anything else. Also, this stuff right here, I've found this is another essential oil thing. It's frankincense and lavender. This actually really smells a lot like back in the day, Avon had something called Skin So Soft, and I remember this when I was a kid. Mom used to spray us all down with it, and it would keep the mosquitoes and gnats away. So this is another thing. It's called Zoom Mist. Don't know. But anyways, this is another thing that you guys could use to keep the mosquitoes and all the other annoying bugs away from you. All right, guys. So now that we've got our bug spray on us and our mosquito repellent, whatever you want to call it, on us, it's time to get some hoeing. And that ain't even half the garden. All right, so our first little tip or trick is I've got a little Fiskars garden hoe right here. And the first thing I did when I got home is, growing up all my life, we worked in the watermelons and cantaloupes and cotton, and we actually did what some people would call chopping cotton or hoeing cotton. So we used to have some awesome expensive eye hoes. But we're gonna use this cheap little, actually it's not cheap, it's like a $30 hoe. But anyways, you guys can see right there this bevel on the blade. I actually made that. This thing came about as flat as that, if you guys can see. These things are not really made for anything, really. I mean, these things are junk. Other than the fact that there's a metal plate on a handle at an angle, makes it somewhat of a hoe. But when you guys get this thing home or wherever you guys are going to get it, make sure you guys take a file or a grinder and grind you a sharp edge on there. That's going to make things a lot easier, I promise you. When I first got this thing, that's the first thing I did. And I got it to where I would just be able to run the hoe over the grass and it would just pretty much shave it off. Get these things real sharp, and they'll do the work for you. I'll tell you what, I'll show you guys. So let's get in the garden and see. All right, so you guys can see right here, somewhere in between my tomatoes and a couple of my onions, I left a little spot right in there of some tall grass. And I'm just going to go over this thing a little bit with the hoe, show you guys how easy this thing can be. Once you've got your hoe blade sharpened really well, all you've got to do, and it's always best to do this, on a soft ground. I usually like to do my hoeing and stuff just after a rain in this case. And look at this, I'm not even going to put too much force down. And look at that. I'm really just dragging this thing across, and it's shaving it up. And on some more stubborn roots and grasses, you can take the corner and go in there and get them just like that. But there is no effort right here, just lifting it up, moving forward, and just dragging the thing back. And that's all the work that I need to do right there. Well, nothing much has changed with this part of the garden. You guys can see my jalapenos, habaneros, my tomatoes, and I really haven't planted much of anything else, and I won't until the tomatoes and jalapenos start to come up a little bit better. But man, that's a lot of hoeing that I got to do. And you guys can see in that back corner, at the top left of your screen, there's some tall stuff in the garden. Now, some people would normally go out there with a hoe and, you know, go out there and just hoe it up, and that's fine and dandy and it works. But if you got a tiller, why don't you just go back over it? So let's bust out the tiller and I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay guys, so to save you guys a little bit of annoying motor sound, I just wanted to explain real quick that the sound did cut out and went junk for a minute. That's only because I was getting a phone call as I was recording this clip, and as you guys know that I record everything on my phone. Anyways, you guys can see how this tiller made short work of that little grass, and I really highly suggest, if you guys have the real estate and if you guys have this nice little tiller, any kind of a nice self-propelled tiller is really good for this job. I really suggest making your job a little bit easier, because this took me about a minute and a half. I know in the next clip I'll say 5 minutes, but it really took me about a minute and 20 seconds to do this, and this was about an hour of work with the hoe the other day. So take your pick. Dang, that took every bit of 2 minutes. Made 2 passes. That wasn't too bad. You know, I would have been out there. In fact, the other day I was out there with just a garden hoe, and it took me an hour just to do all that. It took me 5 minutes. Here's another hint or tip. Right here I've got my jalapenos, and I've got my tomatoes right there. But you can see there's a big gap right there in the middle. Yeah, I do lose a little real estate, but I can't see straight enough to make a straight line, so it worked out in my favor. So what I do, when this stuff starts to get a little bushy right there in the middle, I just run the tiller right up the middle. Another 2 minutes of work right there, and half the garden's already done. Alright guys, I'm going to try to move this camera a little bit closer. It's going to be our last tip and trick of the day for now. You guys can see right in the middle of the screen, right there, I've got a little hill. I'm going to plant some more okra. And I'm going to show you guys how I do it a lot quicker and a lot easier. Alright, so you guys see here I've got a piece of, it's 1.5 inch PVC pipe. It's about a 5 foot long, or 4.5, 5 foot long piece. All I'm going to do is I'm going to walk every couple of feet, and I'm going to, actually, you know what? Just watch and I'll show you. Let me pan the camera around just a little bit. Here we go. All I'm going to do is I'm going to walk a couple of foot. A little hole there. Little hole there. Little hole there. That's it. You guys can see it's freshly tilled. I tilled it, I think, this morning or yesterday. I don't remember. But I tilled it, and then I raked it up into a hill. It says you're supposed to plant okra in little hills. Let me go get the okra and I'll show you what it looks like as it's planted. Alright, here it is, guys. You can see I got my okra. Some of it's too small. May not be able to plant today. I may not be able to get these to plant right because they were sitting in water. Like I said, we had a lot of rain and there was a lot of water in the trays. So I'm going to clean the bigger dirt clods out of this real quick. And anyways, all you got to do, you ain't got to worry. I mean, this is fine the way I'm holding them. Just in the back, you can see this is where the little soil is, the planting soil. All I'm going to do is squeeze it a little bit, loosen it up. Bam. And now that I've got the hole already made, all I got to do is just lightly pack it in around it. And that's it. I'm going to get the bear out of here because he's going to try to be walking through my garden. I don't like that. And then I'll come back for you guys here in just a second. All right, guys, let's see if we can get a couple more. The same thing, turn it around, squeeze a little bit, just kind of loosen the soil that's in there, pull it out. And just build it up around there. Always leave the tops. Always leave the tops. Don't put any soil on top of it. They say you want to get all the air and moisture from there. Alright guys, a couple more times and then we'll call it. Like I said, just go through and loosen them all you want. You can do one at a time or you do all of them at a time. We'll go ahead and do everything that's in here. You just push it around. Remember to leave the tops visible. Leave them uncovered. Some of these you may have to push from the bottom. Some of these holes you get a little bit too deep, but that's okay. You just pull the soil around from the top, away from it. This one's starting to collapse on me a little bit. So I'm going to try to build this one back up. And a couple of them have collapsed on me, but I have not lost one. I think I'm losing one, and that's only because the bear had stepped on it. And I think that's the only one that I'm losing. And actually it's still growing. So I don't think I'm losing it. It says to plant okra about every 3 or 4 foot apart. But okra grows as a small tree. So I'm just going to plant them every maybe 1.5, 2 foot apart at most. Because if one of them doesn't make it, then I still got plenty of room. And they won't be hurting for any soil. They won't be fighting for nutrients. I can guarantee you that. There it is, guys, another row of okra. I've got 3 rows and I've got 2 small plants to spare. I think I'm going to put them in my tomato garden. Let's give you a quick pan around. You guys can see that white string there. There's okra planted in there as well. And I do plan on moving that string out here. I only put that string up to keep the bear out of my okra. Because yeah, he's an annoying little turd. All right, guys, I told y'all that was gonna be it, but I'm gonna give y'all one last little bonus. 2 actually, 2 in 1. First thing is, of course, I got a sprinkler. And I did put it on one of these little garden posts, garden fence post, and But what I really like about this is I got the pre-connect system, little, I think it's like a 6 or 8 pack at Walmart for like $5. So man, I tell you what, that really makes life a lot easier when I'm hooking up, when I'm switching from this to the little gun sprayer so that I can water my starter plants. All I got to do is hook this thing up, turn it on, and let it go. I ain't got to worry about it. The best part is if any of the dogs or cats try to get in there, of course they're going to get run off because of the rainwater. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you guys found some of these tips and tricks to be helpful. If you guys have any advice for me, definitely let me know down in the comments, because anything to make my job easier works a million times better. All right, guys. I'm going to leave you guys with this one final tip. Work smarter, not harder. Make everything else work for you. Make your equipment work for you. Make your tools work for you. If you sharpen your hose and your shovels and all your garden tools, anything like that needs sharpening, it's going to last. You're going to work a lot less. There's going to be a lot less effort into doing what you're going to need to do. So sharpen your hose, sharpen your axes, sharpen everything you need to sharpen. And shovels even. Sharpen your shovels. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe and keep prepping.